Farming in Uganda has always been looked at as an activity practiced by peasants. Although it is the backbone of Uganda, 84% of farmers live in rural areas and practice subsistence farming. With the introduction of social media and sensitization, more and more Ugandans are embracing it and giving it a whole new perception by getting involved in activities such as urban farming, agribusiness, and more so, advocating for better farming practices on social media. Coming up on Seeds of Gold.
So assume each acre you're getting 250 per season of the trees that you've planted, and you have 6 acres. That is how much?
Bettina Tumuhaise is a radio presenter and a proud farmer, as she refers to call herself. Her radio show on Nation Media's Dembe FM educates the public on the modern and profitable agriculture practices and enterprises. She is taking farming from the farm to social media platforms through her farming project called Lima with Bettina.
I had already had a passion for farming, and I kept telling some friend of mine who inspired me, he's called Farid, that I really want to start farming. I want to involve myself in agriculture. That is something that's my passion. And he's like, one day you should try. So when I got this land, it was like, oh Lord, have mercy, this is a blessing. So I gave the guy the car, and he gave me 2 acres of land. So that's how I started. I started buying him from down those ends up to where you've seen. Today, I'm one of the proud farmers that I will say it 100 and a million times. The word proud farmer started with me. This look you're seeing is not by mistake. I started it. I am the revolutionist of the gumboots and the overall, of wearing overall, especially on social media and on people. And I am still the person who started the trend of posting farming posts on social media. Our kind of jambos.
With just 6 acres of land, Bettina is utilizing it all through getting involved in different agriculture enterprises which include coffee farming, tree planting, passion fruit farming, and piggery.
I'm in coffee, trees, piggery, and birds. Yeah, basically that's what I'm doing. In that banana plantation, I had a few coffee trees. And so, as time passed, I would make a lot of money on the bananas. There were a few, but then I saw that there were like, sometimes I would get some little coffee from the 2 acres that would double the money I would get from the matoke. So I'm like, coffee is profitable. Then I grew up with, my father was a farmer. He was basically a coffee farmer, and he would buy coffee from other people as well. So I know the power of coffee. It's something that you cannot hide from me. And I'm like, since my coffee is making this amount of money, and also Olsuku can go anytime, let me concentrate on coffee. So I added in coffee, and even as I was buying, coming up, I would add in coffee, and yeah, and there was coffee as well. So the reason why I'm concentrating a lot on coffee is it's easy to supervise. You know the season, you know how much you can get, and you get less, then you know they have cheated you. Your workers are actually stealing from you. Yeah. So it's easy to supervise.
In Uganda, there are 2 types of coffee grown, and these are Arabica coffee and Robusta coffee. Coffee is Uganda's leading foreign exchange earner, generating millions of dollars every year. We are the only African country in the top 13 Robusta producers around the world. Bettina is a young farmer that has joined the chain of Robusta coffee producers.
I'm doing Robusta but I've seen that Robusta is more resistant to diseases than the Arabic coffee. Even when I was, like I said, when I was growing up, my dad had Robusta, had Arabic, but would benefit more from Robusta than Arabic. Arabic is really, it's hard to maintain, though I've never tried it, but I've seen it. Well, I've seen it in the past with my dad suffering from mania. It has pests, blah blah blah. It's like bazungu. It needs a lot of love, and when you have to pamper your coffee, then yeah. This is more resistant to pests. It is easy to harvest, and I haven't found a problem with it. So when I was looking at growing coffee, I kept concentrating on what I knew, what I had in mind. Do I have room for change? Yes, I can always change. But for now, I'm still living in my comfort zone, where I'm not complaining a lot. I'm not putting in a lot. I'm investing what I should be investing in, and I'm getting out what I should be getting out.
Although Robusta coffee is easily manageable and marketable due to its high-quality characteristics, farmers face a challenge of theft and a lack of proper knowledge on proper harvesting. For coffee farmers in Uganda, market should not be a problem. However, producing the desirable quality is for most farmers. Currently, a kilo of clean Robusta coffee is between 4,800 to 5,200 compared to Arabica coffee, which is 5,300 to 5,800 per kilogram on the coffee market. This is according to Coffee Development Authority.
The people who lack market, they're not exposed. That's one thing. So they are used to these people who come with bicycles, and pichi, hey, mwanyi, he has one basin of coffee, he wants money for meat or for a book, and they give it there. I'm not always in a rush to sell my coffee. You get, I'm not in a rush. But if I want money, I know that I have coffee that I've stocked for probably a season, and it is all dry and it is done and it is for a month. Then I just take it to the machine. I sell actually clean coffee. I don't sell kuno. I'll dry it myself, take it to the machine. After cleaning it, then I take it and sell it when it is clean coffee. Because if I could, I would add value. And that is something that I'm looking at in the future. But for now, the only added value that I do is cleaning it and taking it. When you're selling the clean coffee, you benefit more than the person who is selling this. Others sell it on the trees. It's like, oguno muti mpamwe mitwale ebi. Obajiri like this, from here up to here, you give me 20,000. You find that the person is actually losing. Another thing is, people want to milk the tree until it says mama yangu. You get, you found that tree there, your grandmother you also come, you get, they do not want to get new coffee. Like I told you, I was showing you, this is something new. This is something new. I cut my coffee here. When you cut, then it grows, it brings you new trees. These new trees, the harvest you get from a new tree is not is much better than the one you get from an old tree. So these people here, they will keep a tree, like I said, for 20 years, because they are getting a basin. They forget that actually, if you cut that coffee in 2 years, instead of one basin, you'll be getting 3 basins from the same coffee. Yeah. So they don't want to try something new. They want to milk their coffee. You can benefit a lot from coffee if you gave it time and if you understood what it takes. And if you're not that selfish to say sigenda kutemwa mwanyi zange, you would rather not harvest for 2 years, but then know that when you cut them, you get them after 4 years. Then another thing I've seen, people here harvest a green coffee. I had gotten a tender from one company, big company, to be their representative, to be collecting coffee from my area, okay, to become like their coffee representative in the area, to be able to teach farmers on good harvest, to teach farmers how to look after their coffee, and then I supply all our coffee to that company. Yeah, I turned it down. Why? The way I look after my coffee is not the same way my neighbor looks after the coffee. 2, the way I wait for my coffee to ripe is not the same way my neighbor will ripe. Most people here, they harvest green coffee. When it has just started doing like this, it has a yellow thing. Then they harvest it. Even that one, when they're harvesting, they pull all of it. Then they put it down and then cover it with bitundubale, overnight or over 2 days. Then it becomes black. So when it becomes black, they dry it. After drying it, because for them they are selling, they don't sell clean coffee. You come as a buyer, measure and take. But remember, when you're measuring, it doesn't weigh as much as coffee that is ripe. But for me, with taking clean coffee, when I take it to the machine, it won't have beans inside. Yeah? And when I take it to the factory, the water content will be too much because the coffee wasn't ready. Yeah, so I turned it down. If there's anything that is cheap, is a seedling that you know that you're going to plant today and get 100 seeds of it. Yeah? Then that is very cheap. In a year, if you planted, you buy your tree, it's 300 coffee seedling. Then you plant it. You don't even have to supervise it every day. You continue growing your beans and whatever, just looking after your land and eating other things from your coffee. Then after 2 years, that coffee is going to give you minimum 3 kilograms of clean coffee, yeah, a season. So if that clean coffee is a clean coffee is at 4,500 times 3, do the math. That's that's how much? 120. 120. You bought that thing at 300, right? You have probably you put fertilizer 500, and you've been eating through you are not there. You have to feed it, you have to bring it for it water, you have to bring for it flowers. Then you make at least a season of it, minimum 90,000. Let's say my soil costs and what? Okay, minimum 80,000. Really, isn't that beneficial? Then multiply by the trees that you have. Yeah. So however bad the season is, you can never go wrong with coffee. Yeah. You've seen that in an acre, if we calculate on the 50,000 profit, we are getting 250. So assume each acre you're getting 250 per season of the trees that you've planted, and you have 6 acres. That is how much? 1,500,000. 2 acres is 2 million. 6 acres is 3 million. So you're making 3 million out of your 6 acres.
If this challenge is to be overcome, farmers still need to be trained on the proper harvesting and preparations for international market. When ready for harvest, coffee berries will turn red. However, for Robusta coffee, berries ripen one by one on a branch. The farmer hence needs to pick berry by berry to achieve the desired harvest. The full process involves picking ripe berries, sun dry on a clean surface for about a week, take to the machine for cleaning and weighing.
The correct process is to let the coffee become this. This is like very ripe. You let it ripe. When it is ripe, you remove it, dry it until you feel like it is really dry. You know, you people who have money, they have the machine that measures water content and what. But for us who don't have money, who actually even don't think it is important, we will dry until we know that the coffee is, you know, when you're pushing the coffee and it is making noise, then you know that it is dry. Sometimes you take a bite and know that it is dry. Then after that, and it is always better when you're going to clean your coffee or to take it to the machine, to again dry it so that it is warm. It's like popcorn. You cannot just pop it before putting it on the sun. So after harvesting, you put it on the sun. Make sure it is on a better clean ground. Others put it on tundubale, but for me I use concrete floor because it is more dry. When you put it on tundubale, sometimes it sweats from down. These people, when they are giving you money, they measure and cut some percentage of the water content.
Coffee is generally a seasonal crop. Robusta coffee takes between 15 months to 2 years before first harvest. Farmers choose to invest in other agricultural ventures in order to maximally utilize the land available. Enterprises such as the tree planting, piggery, bird rearing, or fruit and vegetable growing can be practiced for an income during the dry season for coffee.
I started the tree planting or forest venture 5 years ago. This land was sleeping, like I always say. It had sand. It has sand down. So people used to steal sand. And so a friend of mine was like, but you know, you can actually put in trees and you protect it from those people who steal sand. And that's how I started the whole process. I went to the National Forestry and got seedlings of South African breed. Everyone was telling me that was the time when trees had started. You know, that it was on vogue to have trees. So eucalyptus trees, when someone told me about pine and eucalyptus trees, I saw that eucalyptus trees, you can grow them. When you cut, they grow, and you can quickly get money. So it's been 5 years of this. It's seated on 4.5 acres. I also have 5 somewhere, so I'm into forestry and coffee. Every time I would spend 60,000, I would remember that I have land and space where I can actually try. So at first I came and started with 50 seedlings of passion fruits. When I planted them, after a year, I was harvesting a sack in 3 days. I would make a sack, but I had these big ones. So every day we would harvest like 2 buckets of passion fruits. And then I would take home, then give others. Until when I found a friend of mine and she's like, no, these passion fruits, I can actually buy them from you and you sell them. Though these big yellow ones, they didn't have a market. So I started giving her, and I would give her a sack at cheaper. I would, instead of counting for her like 20 at 5,000, I would count like 30 at 5,000. So my home was catered for, and I would still make money for the fuel that would have brought me here. So this is the local passion fruit. It's this is the 7th month. This is the 7th month. So we have already started picking a little. On their 5th, 6th month, we started picking. Now we can pick. The tomatoes here, the guys, I don't have to buy for them tomatoes. I don't have to spend on them like salt or something. They harvest and they sell. When I come around and I can also pick a tomato. But the tunda is specifically for home use. Now at this time they need to be sprayed. You can see these ones, they need to be sprayed. You just have keep pruning, so that the more you prune, the more it goes up.
As a proud farmer, you don't need to wait to accumulate land before you start. Sometimes you might use the idea of hiring land for farming as you grow your own venture. For Bettina, she had to borrow a piece of land from a family member to construct her piggery project.
This structure itself, even when I had my materials, you've probably seen the sand. So I had my blocks and sand. The only things that I bought were cement and iron sheets. Then these other trees are from my timber as well. So, and then stones. So it basically costs me around 7 million, labor and everything that was in. And the compartment, it has 20 compartments, of which it can hold, if we are putting 5 or 4, it can hold about 100 pigs, 100 piglets. And then plus these other local ones that I started with, which can also have like 5 each, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then times 5, that is 30 something. So I have the ability to have as many as 200 pigs if I can feed them. They're about 15. Right now they're about 15. The heaviest weighs about 100 and something, because he's about to give birth. Yeah. And if I'm to sell it, as a farmer you wouldn't sell it at this time, unless you have like a very big problem, like either you're dying tomorrow, because it might be giving birth this week or next week, and most of the time they give birth to more than 10 piglets. So selling it at this time, it would be like a roast. Yeah. So the others, you can sell them about 150 to 200, depending on who comes through anyway. Because when you get these people who take them for pork, for sauce, they always say, oh, this one has 14 kilograms. Then they say each kilogram we are buying it at 7,000. But if you get someone who's taking it for rearing purposes, you can sell it to them from 100,000 to 150. Yeah, but not these other big ones. So we have the ones that range from 100 to 150 if we are to sell. Yeah.
Pig's gestation period is 3 months, 3 weeks and 3 days, and the least piglets it will give birth to is 10 to 12. A pig may be able to give birth twice a year. For farmers like Bettina, this is a pathway to making money. You don't need a lot of money to start up such a project. With just 2 grown pigs and of course a good shelter, you will be ready to go.
I started with 2 pigs. They were actually pigs, they were big, they were 4 or 5 months. I had gone to visit a friend who had lost a wife, and I found in Gayaza, and he was selling his pigs. He just wanted to shift from where he was. The space he had wasn't enough, and so he was like, I'm actually selling these pigs, I want to leave this place, blah, 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 and get a better place. So I was like, how much are you selling them? He told me, give me 2, give me 170, and they were 4 months. So 170, I had my 200, I was like, I paid cash. I built 2 compartments, this and this. In one day, they were done. We had this bibao in the store and this, and so we built 2 compartments. So after 2 months of bringing them, the other one came when it was pregnant, and the other one, the second one came when it wanted to kulinyira. Then the other one gave birth after 2 months. Immediately when it gave birth, it was trouble. It gave birth to 17 piglets. So then I had to add this quickly, and then that. As you can see, then from here, then I added this. Because since there were 17, the other one was also about to give birth, I knew that I was in trouble. So I added that and this one. So when the other one gave birth, I shifted the piglets to here. Before even after like 3 months, it again became pregnant. The other one gave birth. And so that's when we thought of expanding and building this other big one. So this one came up by the time, after 2 years of rearing those pigs, I added 2 more pigs on top of the other ones I have. Remember, I had 17, then I had added 15 piglets. Those were already 30 something plus the other one, and these other ones were pregnant. Then I brought another ones that way. So in 2 years, we had already accumulated 120 pigs. So now we cut them down to, I first sold all of them. We're just now picking the pace up with these few ones of different breeds. And yeah.
Being on the social scene, she has earned a name and a celebrity farmer under the hashtag Proud Farmer. She is taking this advantage and using it to especially inspire young women to join farming and end the dependency burden by involving themselves in agriculture. So ladies, it might be time to change the heels for gumboots.
Wiremore is all over the place on social media. Like I had said, I'd already blown for myself. Like I'm the only person, the only female who invented this overall, changing your heels, changing from heels to gumboots. So every day when I started the journey of farming, my goal was to change the perception about farming by the youth, by women. You know, people used to think farming is a dirty job. It's for those who have retired. It's not for the youth. It is for the elderly. No, no, no. I said, you can look this cool with dreadlocks and a tattoo and nice nails and still become a farmer. So every day of my life, I would post something when I'm in the farm. I would take pictures. Like you see, she's going to take pictures, and later you see them all over the social media. Then we post them. And then I would write something inspirational, like I would tell you, change from heels to gumboots and overall, and then from overall to heels and go back to office. You don't have to look dirty to become a farmer. And so after becoming so popular on social media as a proud farmer, then I started hashtagging a proud farmer. Being a proud farmer is becoming comfortable with who you are and appreciating and embracing who you are. Then Lima with Bettina, you've seen it all over the place. It's a brand new name. We call it a revolution. Bettina is me. Lima is generally a slang for to grow, and it's for agriculture. It doesn't necessarily mean okulima, you must be with a hoe. You can be rearing cows and you're a mulimi. Because when you say a farmer, you say omulimi, era sigalanga, it's a farmer. So that's where the word Lima came from. And we started Lima to change still the perception about farming by showing stories of people who are doing it. Then we also teach people to use the little land they have. It doesn't matter how big or small. That's where we bring in backyard farming, so you can also reverse save. Then those youth that have land in their villages, it can be your parents, your sengas, but it is there, sleeping, like that's the term we use. And you're on the Kampala streets looking for a job. We're telling you, you can be your own CEO. Go home, do something on your land. Use the little land you have and change, make a difference, create your own job. So Lima with Bettina is a new revolution. You too can actually join farming.